Welcome back, friends. So today I've got a little bit of a special treat for you. We're going to review a product. So I don't normally do unboxings, but this is special. So a bunch of you probably are not familiar with Arma Hobby. So we're going to go over one of their new gems that they have here. So I've got the KI-84 Hayate. And so I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to unbox it, show you a few things that are in there. But we're also going to kind of cut a few things off the sprue and see how they fit. So far, I've got a couple of these kits. I've built just the Wildcat, and the Wildcat was amazing. I've got all the little goodies. So first, show you some of the sprues. So I've cut some stuff off of there, but I just want to show you a little bit more about the details. So you got the floor pan there. Some of the detail with, probably see more of actually this side when the engine shows. So keep in mind 1/72 scale. So we get into the Divine scale in here, and it has some really good details. Some people would say that these kits are the same amount of detail that you would have in a 148 kit, but it's 172. A few things with the gun port. So some good detail with there. And it's really just the two sprues plus clear. So you can see the molded detail with the horizontal stabilizers. Comes with some bombs. And I'll show you in the owner's manual or instruction manual how these bombs go together. It's quite ingenious the way that works. So we'll show you that. When it comes to the main parts, let's take a look at the detail on the bottom here. So pretty nice. I think it's a good compromise of the size of the panel lines. So really nice stuff there. And then the entire top goes as one piece. So you got some nice detail there, some gun ports, and of course, you can start getting into just kind of how it clicks together. And you've got a really nice fit with the leading edge. It can be where you get into some issues where some of these panel lines don't match up and whatnot. This looks great. So there's that assembly. When we go to the side, same kind of detail, but you got a little bit of panel lines on some parts. Not really panel lines over the whole thing. If you want to, you can, get a Rosie the Riveter and add that on. So you have that. Other side, kind of the same thing. So on the inside, we got a little more detail that will come with this, but pretty nice molding. You don't have to worry. No problems with ejector pins where it's going to be shown, so that makes things a lot easier. And so put this aside. I'll show you. We'll eventually tape that up. Decals work out pretty good. Said I've only used one of these sets, but you can see it's not super thick with carrier film. It's pretty good. And what if they say, so printed by Tech Mod. But the decals that I've had before with the Wildcat it's together pretty well. Okay, so those are your decal set. And then it's going to come with a masking set, which is awesome, especially for small stuff. I hate trying to do canopies when they're the itty bitty size. And then you get a little bit of photo etch for a few things. You've got kind of some seat belts. You got a kind of two little, probably throttle quadrant, and then some intakes, and then the ignition wires. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to see what some of the other little teeny details are. I think that's probably another control lever. That is just ridiculously small. So those are the photo etch set that comes with it. Pretty cool how with the expert set they come with just everything. So that is one thing to note when you're shopping for Arma Hobby. So this is going to be the expert set. So it comes with all of decals, mask, photo etch, brass, all that fun. If you're looking at the other, I think just basic kit, just the plastic for the most part, but still detail is pretty awesome. The photo etch is a nice touch, but is it absolutely necessary for it to be a good kit out of the box? So, but if you're curious, that's how they do their thing. Now, when it comes to the clear, I don't see much when it comes to any like rivets on these, but in 1/72nd scale, if you do put in some rivets, sometimes it can be a bit out of scale. So that's a touchy subject for some people that are in the 72 scale, whether or not it should have any rivets, whether or not maybe if they're really big, then maybe, and so that's a whole nother debate. So with the owner's manual, cool thing, it actually gives you color callouts. Some kits that I've been dealing with, frustrating that you have to go through all the extra research to figure out what is actually painted, and basically be a historian in the subject just to be able to build something. So with the instrument panel, they give you decal set. And you can see those are your dials, so pretty easy. I've got a video on how you can make those look really good. I have to see, there's a few aftermarket companies that are going to be doing a few things. I imagine that there's going to be an Eduard look panel for that pretty soon if you wanted to get that just where it's good to go. Might even also get into some of the Kinta sets for those as they get into. Everything else pretty standard, pretty straightforward build, no drama. And it looks like it goes together pretty easily. You don't have to, there's no hidden tricks with the assembly that they're going to throw at you. Give you a little bit of information on what type of intakes are going to be, depending on what build you have. Let's see, some of this you have to look, where's the English portion on it. And the English is always an interesting translation. It give you only open version of the cockpit. Okay. So what they mean, yeah, if you use that set, I guess, yeah. Well, but if you do 21, then it give you only closed cockpit version for this option. So just reference this if you want to open versus closed. Cut hole from the inside part of number 21 and use it. A few little things there. I will build this and let you know how it all comes together, but this probably is pretty ingenious, going in and getting into 21 versus 22, depending on if you want open versus closed, because that can be tricky to try to accommodate for both in the same kit. So actually that's a pretty nifty touch. And getting into just some of the other details. So I thought this was pretty interesting too, the way that you kind of make the fins for these. Because you got the way it's molded. So you have these really thin pieces, and then this wedge. And with that wedge is there, you cut it there first. Then you put that in and glue it in like this, and that lines it up for you perfectly. Then once that sets, then you cut that wedge off. Boom, alignment, perfect in theory, right? So you have that for the 100 kilogram bomb. The 250 is more of just wedge, put together, done. So that makes things a little bit more interesting, putting it all together. So that's cool how they have a little bit of a, come with an alignment tool to make sure that you get those fins proper. And then also with Arma Hobby, you get a good amount of different schemes. So you have kind of more of the standard scheme. So 1945. I'm not going to even attempt to tell you more about this history because it's not kind of more of my forte. Don't know much when it comes to specifics on here, but other cool thing, I need to check this out is you do have a QR code that gives you some more information when you scan that. So I'm going to have to, during the build, figure out what kind of information that gives you. So that's kind of cool with the QR code that's on the page. It's a pretty neat touch. So number 2, similar scheme, but different tail, different fighter. And then get into what I'm tempted to do is kind of one of the more natural metal finishes and do something like that, but I'll have to see. I definitely like the weird different schemes, so that's cool. And you can see QR code for each of the different schemes, so I'm imagining hopefully they go into more when you scan that or something. So scheme number 4 is pretty cool up there. And then scheme 5, I'll have to figure out more about this history and then tell you guys about it. And then probably in 1/72nd scale, the most challenging of all the schemes on here is getting into this pattern. That's got to be pretty interesting attempt. So maybe I'll do that just to kind of challenge myself. I would imagine what I'll do is probably masking fluid to make those lines and then paint it. I'll have to check. I think they're hard edge. I don't know. I've built two Japanese Navy subjects so far. I don't know. But I imagine it would look pretty hard edge in 72nd scale. So there's that. Now, what you guys have been waiting for, let's kind of tape this up and see some of the fit for this. Because I'm kind of with that opinion. I mean, if it's a cool set, got a lot of detail, but if you're going to grow some gray hair putting it together, then it seems more of a chore than a hobby. And you can send all your hate mail into the chat, and I may actually look at it. But, so we put those together. And you have these different locking tabs. It's going to lock that in, but you can just see how just a little bit of boop, and you're in there. Maybe just a little teeny bit of filling, and I'll have to check references if that's a panel line that I need to fill in. Probably does. This probably needs to be filled in, but really good fit on the top and bottom. So, take this up. Oh, it's always fun to hear that just little click sound when it just kind of goes together like a Bandai kit. Okay, so now we got main fuselage here, and that piece needs to be kind of glued a bit, but boom. So just with a little bit of pressure, you can see those joins fit very well. Probably have to, I mean, some of this, of course, is going to look better when it actually has glue, but that's pretty dang cool. So, excellent fit, great detail. I think anything in the Arma Hobby is giving any company a run for their money right now. So, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. The P51 is another excellent kit from Arma Hobby that I've seen. Like I built the Wildcat. I've got to eventually get to the Hurricane is another great one. So all these are available on Hobby Nut. And so if you guys want, I've got put the link in there. And once again, thank you for the sample from Hobby Nut. And so if you guys want to go on there, they've got a bunch of the different kits in stock and a few of the little detail stuff. So for some of the kits where there's a Kinta Studio cockpit available for it, you can kind of put them together and make this even easier of a build with more detail. So definitely head over to Hobby Nut Models and, you know, give them a look. I don't think you'll go wrong with any of Arma Hobby's kits at this point. So if you guys have built Arma Hobby, put in the chat, let me know what you guys thought of the ones you built. and what kind of recommendations that you have. If you found there's some aftermarket that's necessary, or if you're just like, oh no, why? It's beautiful out of the box. And go from there. So until next time, we'll see you on the next video.